Everyone in Hollywood tries to change you. Your looks. Your personality. Your silence. But when Keanu Reeves found love, something shocking happened. She didn't try to fix him. She didn't try to upgrade him. She didn't try to make him louder, richer, or different. Alexandra Grant loved the one thing the world kept trying to erase. The real Keanu Reeves. And that choice changed everything. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive into what really happened. In a world obsessed with fixing, upgrading, and reshaping people, one quiet love story stood out for doing the exact opposite. While most relationships in the public eye are surrounded by noise, expectations, and constant attention, this one unfolded without scandals, drama, or public performances. There were no attention-seeking headlines or carefully staged moments, only something rare and powerful: acceptance. When news first surfaced that Keanu Reeves was in a relationship with artist Alexandra Grant, the internet didn't quite know how to react. Some people were surprised. Others were confused. A few even questioned it, comparing the relationship to Hollywood's usual standards and unwritten rules. For an industry that often prioritizes image over authenticity, this relationship didn't fit the familiar pattern. Keanu Reeves has long been admired for his humility, kindness, and private nature. Despite global fame, he has never chased attention or allowed Hollywood to redefine who he is. Yet when people saw Alexandra Grant by his side, many expected a different story, one where fame would shape the relationship or where one partner would try to change the other to match public expectations. But that never happened. Alexandra Grant didn't step into Keanu Reeves' life to redesign his image, silence his simplicity, or polish his personality for public approval. Instead, she accepted him exactly as he was: quiet, thoughtful, and grounded. That simple choice revealed something deeper about their bond. In a culture that often equates love with control or improvement, their relationship offered a different message. It showed that love doesn't always demand transformation. Sometimes, it thrives in understanding. Sometimes, it grows in space, not pressure. This story isn't about perfection or idealized romance. It's not a fairy tale built on fantasy. It's a real example of two people choosing respect over expectations and maturity over performance. By not trying to change Keanu Reeves, Alexandra Grant created a foundation built on trust and emotional safety. And perhaps that is why their relationship works, not because it's loud or dramatic, but because it's honest. In a world constantly telling people who they should become, this story reminds us how powerful it is to be loved for who you already are. Keanu Reeves has lived a life shaped by both extraordinary success and deep personal loss. From global fame to private heartbreak, his journey has been anything but simple. Yet despite being one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood, Keanu has always remained grounded, quiet, and deeply human. Unlike many celebrities, he never chased luxury or excess. He doesn't flaunt wealth or surround himself with constant attention. He rides public transport, lives modestly, and treats people with the same kindness whether they are famous or unknown. In an industry built on image and status, this made him stand out, and not always in ways people understood. Over the years, the world tried to place labels on him. Some called him too quiet. Others described him as too introverted. A few even suggested he was too simple to be a true Hollywood superstar. But those labels missed the truth. Keanu wasn't distant or disconnected, he was intentional. He chose peace over noise. Meaning over performance. Depth over display. Hollywood often expects its biggest stars to be constantly evolving in visible ways. New styles. Louder personalities. More attention-grabbing moments. And partners are sometimes expected to play a role in that transformation, to reshape, refine, or rebrand the person beside them. But Alexandra Grant never saw Keanu Reeves as someone who needed redefining. She didn't look at his quiet nature as something to fix. She didn't view his simplicity as a weakness. She didn't believe his humility needed polishing. Instead, she recognized a man who already knew who he was. Keanu's strength was never in being the loudest person in the room. It was in being consistent, thoughtful, and emotionally steady. Alexandra understood that trying to change those qualities would mean losing the very essence of who he is. So rather than rewriting his personality, she respected it. She allowed him to remain grounded, private, and authentic, without pressure or expectation. That kind of understanding is rare, especially in an environment that constantly pushes people to become something else. In choosing respect over reinvention, Alexandra Grant didn't just accept Keanu Reeves, she honored him. And that quiet choice became the foundation of a relationship built not on image, but on truth. Alexandra Grant is not a typical celebrity partner, and that difference is impossible to ignore. She is an accomplished artist, a thoughtful creative mind, and a woman firmly grounded in her own identity. Long before public attention focused on her relationship, she had already built a meaningful life around her work, her values, and her voice. Because of that, she never needed fame to define her, or to validate her place beside Keanu Reeves. Unlike many relationships shaped by spotlight pressure, Alexandra never tried to compete with Keanu's global fame. She didn't seek attention through his name, nor did she attempt to reshape herself to fit Hollywood's expectations. Her confidence came from knowing who she was, not from being associated with someone famous. More importantly, she never tried to change Keanu. She didn't attempt to soften his quiet nature or push him to be more expressive for public approval. She didn't encourage him to become more visible, louder, or more entertaining to meet the industry's standards. In a world where public figures are often urged to constantly reinvent themselves, Alexandra chose something different: respect. That choice reflects a powerful philosophy she once shared: the best relationships are those where people help each other grow, not change. This belief shaped the foundation of their bond. Alexandra didn't love Keanu for what he might become one day. She didn't see him as a project or a work in progress. She loved him for who he already was: calm, reflective, and deeply grounded. That acceptance allowed Keanu to exist freely within the relationship, without fear of judgment or pressure. In a culture where partners often push each other to fit certain images or roles, Alexandra did something rare. She created space instead of expectations. She offered understanding instead of direction. She allowed Keanu to remain exactly as he was, without asking him to perform or impress. There was no pressure to prove anything. No pressure to meet outside standards. No pressure to become someone else. This kind of love doesn't demand attention. It doesn't rely on grand gestures or public validation. It moves quietly, rooted in trust and mutual respect. And while it may not be loud or dramatic, it is powerful. Because confidence without control creates a relationship where both people can stand as equals, secure, supported, and fully themselves. Trying to change someone often comes from fear, the fear that who they are, at their core, is not enough. It can come from insecurity, outside pressure, or the belief that love requires improvement rather than understanding. But Alexandra Grant never acted from fear. Her approach to love was rooted in trust, confidence, and emotional awareness. She understood something many people overlook: Keanu Reeves' kindness, silence, and simplicity were not flaws to be corrected. They were strengths to be protected. In an industry that rewards volume and constant visibility, choosing quiet integrity takes courage. Alexandra recognized that and honored it. By not trying to change him, she gave Keanu something incredibly rare in Hollywood: emotional safety. He didn't have to explain why he preferred a private life. He didn't have to defend his values or choices. He didn't have to become louder, richer, or more impressive to earn love or approval. Instead, he could simply exist as himself. That sense of safety creates space for real connection. When a person feels accepted, they don't shrink or hide. They relax. They become more open, more present, and more genuine. Alexandra's acceptance allowed Keanu to remain grounded without fear of being misunderstood or pressured to perform. And that respect was mutual. Keanu offered the same understanding in return. He never tried to overshadow Alexandra or reshape her identity. Their relationship was not about one person leading and the other following, it was about equality. Two individuals standing side by side, each valued for who they are, not for who they could become. That is why their public appearances feel natural rather than staged. There is no tension, no performance, no sense of expectation. Their calm presence together reflects a bond built on understanding instead of image. Their relationship doesn't rely on dramatic gestures or public displays. It speaks through consistency, mutual respect, and quiet confidence. In a world that often confuses chaos with passion, their love reminds us of something important. Love doesn't always need to be loud to be real. It doesn't always need attention to be meaningful. Sometimes, the strongest kind of love is peaceful. The reason Alexandra Grant never tried to change Keanu Reeves is simple, but it carries a lesson far deeper than most people realize. In a society obsessed with transformation, self-improvement, and constant reinvention, their relationship offers a quiet but powerful alternative. Alexandra understood that real love doesn't ask, "Who can you become for me?" Instead, it asks, "How can I walk beside you as you already are?" This perspective is rare, especially in Hollywood. So many relationships, in the public eye or even behind closed doors, are built on pressure to perform, to fit a certain mold, or to meet expectations. People often feel that they must change parts of themselves, appearance, personality, or lifestyle, to be worthy of love. But Alexandra and Keanu chose a different path. They built a relationship grounded in acceptance, respect, and understanding. Keanu Reeves didn't find love by altering himself to please others or meet societal expectations. He found it by being fully authentic, humble, kind, and quietly himself. Alexandra Grant didn't find fulfillment by reshaping him or trying to fix what was already whole. She found it by simply standing beside him, supporting him, and valuing his true self. This mutual respect created a relationship that thrives on equality, not control, understanding, not expectation. Their story sends a message the world desperately needs to hear: you don't need to be fixed to be loved. You don't need to perform to be valued. You don't need to change to be chosen. Love doesn't require someone to be louder, flashier, or more impressive. True love asks only that you be genuine, and that you allow the other person to be genuine too. This is why their story resonates so strongly. It isn't flashy, dramatic, or designed for headlines. It doesn't rely on public appearances, media attention, or extravagant displays. Its power comes from its simplicity and authenticity. It's a love built on emotional safety, trust, and acceptance, the kind of love that inspires without needing to shout. Maybe, in a world that constantly tells us we're not enough, the greatest lesson from Keanu Reeves and Alexandra Grant is this: being yourself is enough. Choosing acceptance over control, respect over expectation, and love over judgment is the quiet, profound path to true connection. Their story reminds us that sometimes, the most extraordinary love is also the calmest, and that's exactly the kind of love the world needs more of.